When you think of Christmas, you don't necessarily think of sea creatures, right? Well, in this case we are. We're going to use a Sputnik Sea Urchin shell to make a Christmas ornament.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best-in-class carbide wood turning tools.
Thompson lathe tools, made by a wood turner, for wood turners.
A sea urchin ornament is a classic. It's been done for a while. Cindy Drozda makes an amazing one. But the ones I've normally seen have been like this. And so I thought I would turn it upside down and make it a little more elegant with the teardrop going all the way down. Also, the construction of this is interesting because generally you have to glue these to the ends here, and I didn't want to do that. It gets messy. So I've doweled it. So this goes through to the base and fits in that way. So the nice thing is it's like that. It puts no pressure on the shell and no glue mess that way. Now, where did I get my shells? Well, I went to Richard's. Let me look at here and make sure I get it right. Richard's Seashells and Gifts, and they're in Florida. And man, he has every single shell you can imagine on Earth. I got my Sputnik Sea Urchin shells, and then I got my normal sea urchin shells here. These are really cool. I thought maybe I could make an ornament with them, but now I'm getting more of a mushroom vibe from them. And then these are really cool. I can't remember the name, but you put a light behind them and you can see through them. So that'll be a neat project down the line. And these shells are really cool because they have a flat top. So if you wanted to, you could actually turn a wooden cap to go on this and make this into an ornament. It is a bit heavy though. So I got all these different shells just to experiment and play. And what I found out was when the people started using these were a great idea because they're nice and light. Okay, so I've taken a blank of Babinga here. We're using a really hard wood with a tight grain. You don't want to use something like soft maple or oak that's big grain, or mahogany. It'll shatter when you make a thin finial. So what I've got here is, this is how my finial is going to be riding right now in this piece of wood, and we want to turn from here to here. This is actually two pieces. So we're going to make this separate piece later. So I'm going to take an Easy Wood square cutter and turn this on. Now, for using an Easy Wood cutter, you want to bring in flat and keep it level the entire time you're cutting. And we're just going to go ahead and take little nibbles. You don't want to use the entire width of the tool when you're cutting because you could get a catch. We just work our way down, and it makes very quick work of roughing something out without a lot of vibration and a lot of getting beat up. Now I'm coming out a little bit wider on the cut because I want to leave as much wood on there as possible, because you all know, kids, you can't put wood back on. Okay, so I've used the Easy Wood tool to round this out all the way down here, and then I did a little bit of rounding here. I don't want to take this narrow all the way down, or I'm going to lose a lot of strength. It'll flex and bend too much. So I'm going to take a Thompson spindle gouge now and start working on the ball on the end. The neat thing about this is there's a point on my American Beauty, my Robust tool, live center. I can really talk, can't I? Robust makes a live center, okay? It has a point in it. That point is going into the top of the ball. I'm not worried about getting rid of that point because we're going to need a hole in the tip of that ball anyway to put a little hook to hold this on the Christmas tree. So I'm just gently moving a little bit of wood out. Now this is I usually move my body, but this is such a small cut, I'm just doing a little swing here because I just want to move out some wood and just dish it out and keep working my way back with it. So this is the area where I want the ball. So I'm just going to delineate it just a little bit and start making it. I do not want to make it very narrow on this point because I still need the purchase, I still need the thickness of the wood right here, so this doesn't get really vibraty and break. Vibraty, that's a really good word, isn't it? Vibraty and break later. So now we're going to actually make the bottom part of the ball is holding this on here, and we will make the shapes and everything. So we're going to come in like so. I want a little bit of a transition, so we're going to bring this down. And I'm going to make like a little V kind of thing coming up like that. So we'll keep coming with the ball, go around, just little slivers of wood. Just take your time, rub the bevel, and you get a nice cut. This doesn't have to be a perfect ball right now. We'll clean that up in the end. So there we go. Now we're going to make this. goes straight to there, and so that's a nice flat spot. And then we can accentuate it by coming in this way now and making a curve. Okay, so now we've got that little detail, and we have this one right here. Now we need to start making the skinny part of the finial. Whoops, I got a catch because I presented that edge and it took it and ran. You want to have this the angle you want it to go, and come in like so and turn. You get in a hurry on this, you will blow it up. So anyway, this is how you start nibbling down to your thickness, just little small cuts. I could use an easy wood tool on here, but when you get this in, if you're using a pure scraper, you get in trouble. They make a nice negative rake, and you can use it for this. There, now see, that's how thin we want to get. So now I'm going to start marching my way back, and we'll make it thin and bring it all the way down here and then make the base. Okay, you can see we're getting nice and skinny here. One thing I didn't mention, I have the live center up here because I need back and forth stability as this gets narrower and narrower. So now that I'm here, instead of making big cuts, I want to come in and make very light cuts and only go in about, oh man, 1/4 of an inch at max, 1/8 inch maybe, because this puts less pressure on this right here. Now this is being held in a chuck, which really helps out a lot too. It takes a lot of the pressure off of the spindle. But you can see it's little tiny movements. This time I do have my hip, my handle into my hip, so it's my body making these moves. And then as I work my way down, I get down to the diameter I want. You can, I guess, try to go for all this in one shot, but you're gonna run into issues. Now this is where my technique is going to change a little bit as I get almost to the diameter I want. So I'm down here now, I'm going to loosen up a bit. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to sweep over. And I'm going to sweep over and just match up with where I am on the diameter. Now remember, at some point here you're going to start flaring it back out. You don't want to have a stick. You want to have a little shape to this. And you got to be careful. See, that's catching as I push. So you make sure you're in the right position like so, that you don't get a catch. The other thing you can delicately do is come up here and use your fingers as a backstop and make little passes to take out any little bumps that might be bothering you. I mentioned Cindy Droza earlier, and she has an amazing technique where she can hold her finger over here and keep that stable. I don't have that ability. So anyway, we're going to keep working our way down, then we're going to make the flare for the base of the finial. So I want to make this little flare here now, and I've always had problems getting a spindle gouge to make that really, really smooth. It's a very delicate cut, takes a lot of skill and technique, and well, wrong glasses. Well, you're watching me, so obviously I'm not perfect. So the deal is that I found out that with the Easy Wood tools, that's perfectly round already. That's cool. So I can come in here, this is close to the chuck, so it's really stable right now. And I'm just going to take really light cuts and make sure my height is right. Yep, height looks good. Come in flat. And now, because that's a circle cutter, I can make a perfect curve on this without getting those little jumpy lines that I get from a spindle gouge. So just sneak up on it. You don't want to take big cuts at this point. You're just shaving off whispers of wood. Very delicate. It's a whole different body process when you're using an Easy Wood tool as compared to a regular cutting tool. See, I got a little off there. You really pay attention, and it's a very simple organic movement. Rather than having to twist a tool to make the bevel rub and everything else, you're simply kind of painting with this cutter tip, and it goes where you tell it to go. So that's cool. Now what I want to do is delineate and make a tenon on there. So we'll go ahead and grab this. I'm going to shut this off a second because I don't want anything to hit when I move this, because this is really, really close. Pull this back. This is a carbide tip parting tool by Easy Wood. We're going to turn that on. I'm going to use it for one flattening cut, and then I might have to go to my skinny mini, but we'll see if this will fit. So I just want to clean this edge up here. Come in from the side. See, that's nice and flat. Okay. And so we're going to cut in like so. And cut in there. So what I want to do is make about a 3/8 of an inch tenon. Matter of fact, I got a drill bit around here somewhere, and I need to get the measurement on it. Oops. There you go. So we'll just come in here, mark this like so. And now we have the diameter of the tenon, not the tenon, the dowel rod that we're going to use to hold this thing together. So we'll come back in here, turn this on. Bring this in gently. You bring your calipers up. They're going to jump a little bit until they fit in. And I have a gap in here, so I'm not going to catch. Come out a little bit, make it a little bit bigger. Okay, there we go. Now I've got the exact diameter I need. So all I'm going to do is, let's see, what did I do to this one? Oh, I've got that little flare at the bottom. So I simply want to take a spindle gouge now and make that shape. And then after I do that, we'll part it off. Or I'll sand before I part it off. That'd make it look a lot nicer when we're done. That looks good. So we have an issue. Sputnik sea urchins are beautiful, but they're bumpy. So if you put this right on here, you're going to wind up with like little areas where it wants to stick over something. So we need to sand an area here so this will sit flat and flush. Well, the way I came up with it was this is the remainder of the finial wood, right? So I just slid it out because this is going to be that transitional piece of wood between the finial and the Sputnik. So I've got some double stick tape here, right? Gonna put that on there like so. We're gonna bring our tool rest up and we're gonna turn this on, and we're simply gonna take this really fine point by Easy Wood, come right there. Now what I've done is, voila, we've got that to the exact diameter, right? But don't throw this away. This is what's important. Because over here I have my sandpaper, right? Well, I'm just gonna take this, lay it down here like so, take a pin, Sharpie, and just do the outline right there, because this is the way I'll cut my sandpaper to the exact diameter that I need. So just make sure in your shop, I always have 2 pairs of scissors. Good scissors, crappy sandpaper scissors. So, what? Watch my bald head there. Anyway, so I'll get this cut out and then we'll put it on there and we'll sand the sea urchin. You can see right here I have a hole that I drilled in there because that's going to accept the tenon of the finial, right? So I'm going to put that in right now because I'm going to use this as my guide to make this shape. This has to be deep enough. The first one I made was a little shallow. I want to make this a little deeper so I can actually have the tenon, the little dowel rod I'm going to put in here. I want it to be able to go a little deeper and give me a little firmer connection. So by keeping the finial in here, I can actually match my shape up and make it look the right proportion. So I'm just dishing this out. Take a little more wood off there. Trying to mate up right there. I gotta put my cheaters on now. This is getting bad. Oh, much better. Okay, I bought these off of Amazon and I thought they're the ones I bought before, and they're not. The eyeglasses, they kind of look a little dorky. Nothing wrong with that, but they are different looking. So it's just a very light cut. You don't want to go uphill, you just want to go downhill. There, that looks good. See, that's kind of blending in with that. The only thing I don't want to change here is the outer diameter, because that's where I sanded the diameter of that relief on the sea urchin to fit this in. So that's cool. I'm just going to sand that and part that off, and then we're going to move on to the bottom. Okay, well, guess what? It's wash, rinse, and repeat time, because doing the bottom is just about the same as doing the top. The only difference is sea urchins have bigger bottoms. I'm not going to explain why, but you can imagine. So I had to get a bigger blank of wood in here, did the same thing, turned it to the diameter, sanded it so this fits in here just nice. And now all I want to do is turn a shape somewhat like this that will complement this shape here. And remember, there's a hole drilled in there, but don't drill it too deep to go through your design. You just want it deep enough to hold the tenon or the dowel rod that we're going to use to hold everything together. So I'm just going to work on this and figure out a nice little shape that fits my fancy. Every time I do these, they come out differently. Now, we want to hang this from our tree. So I have a little hook right here you can see. And so on my other piece, I drilled a hole in there. Now, where did I get my hook? I use eagle claw bait holder hooks. And they're for worms. So the wild thing is it's really hard to see. But there's two barbs on here. I just want one barb. I'm not going in that deep. The barb just keeps it in the hole. So when you drill the hole the right size, then you take this, cover your eyes and watch out. You take this now and drop it on the floor. Ah, jeez. There it is. Glad I swept. So take this and then you stick this in the hole and probably have to take a little hammer and tap it in. Let's see, I'll do it this way. And you push and push and push and push. And now that barb is inside and this isn't going to pull out. You don't need any glue. And speaking of glue, you can use wood glue or super glue to put this together if you want to. But I have my dowel inserted into here. So we take it up to our flat spot there. Then we bring this in here. And you can see it pushes in. And by pushing this together, we're holding the Sputnik Sea Urchin without putting pressure on it. So it'll keep it from breaking in the future. It'll be a nice fit. So anyway, that is how you make a Sputnik Sea Urchin Christmas ornament. I hope you enjoyed it. So until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.
Thompson lathe tools, made by a wood turner, for wood turners.